For almost 2 years, 50 Cent built a documentary to expose Diddy. Now it's out and the footage is explosive. Never-before-seen confessions from Kef D, hidden lyrics in Diddy's own songs. And the bombshell allegation, a $1 million hit on Tupac. Here's the evidence that's finally bringing the truth to light. 50 Cent spent years building something massive, a documentary project focused entirely on exposing Diddy. And now with Diddy sitting in a prison cell, that work is finally coming to light. But Curtis, people know about this very public, long-standing feud that you've had with Sean Combs. So what brought you to this project? Well, was there anything that surprised you when you were watching the footage? The timing wasn't accidental. 50 chose ABC strategically simply because it's one of the very few networks that plays inside federal prisons. He wanted Diddy to watch from his cell. The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy. Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. The documentary spans over 30 years of Diddy's career. Director Alexandria Stapleton emphasized the meticulous research behind it. The team spent months conducting due diligence, getting the right voices to the table, and building a comprehensive examination of Diddy's rise and the allegations that followed. But Diddy's legal team wasn't having it. They fired back immediately, calling the project a shameful hit piece that relied on stolen footage. They argued it was fundamentally unfair and illegal to use private recordings, including conversations with his lawyers that were never intended for public viewing. But Netflix didn't back down. They insisted every piece of footage was legally obtained. The material includes explosive recordings from just days before Diddy's arrest, conversations with his lawyers, phone calls with his son Justin, moments a man with that much power would never want the world to see. Well, I think it's rare to find someone on who's being, talked about all over the country, all eyes were on him, so to speak. And it was really interesting to see his last days of freedom. But what truly changed everything was the man at the center of Tupac's murder investigation. Greg Kading, former lead detective on both the Tupac and Biggie cases. 4 years, his work was buried and now it's front and center. A retired LAPD detective says he has solved the murder of rapper Tupac Shakur, who was gunned down in Las Vegas nearly 20 years ago. Detective Greg Kading says he has proof it was Sean Diddy Combs who orchestrated the murder. His book on the investigation has now been turned into a documentary. Kading laid out exactly how this conspiracy allegedly worked. The escalating beef, the need for a preemptive strike, and the name that kept surfacing from day one. The key piece of evidence, a recorded confession from Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, the man now charged with Tupac's murder. And what he told federal authorities in 2009 changes everything about how we understand that night in Las Vegas. According to Keefe D., Diddy allegedly offered $1 million to eliminate both Suge Knight and Tupac in a room full of __ gang members. People who would actually act on that kind of offer. The target was both men in that BMW, but only one was killed. Tupac took 4 bullets while Suge survived with fragments in his head. Keefe D. claims half the bounty was allegedly paid out, not to him directly, but to someone else in that car. The person who stole the Death Row Records chain at Lakewood Mall just days before the shooting. That chain meant everything. If you were signed to Death Row, you got one. Taking it was the ultimate disrespect. DJ Vlad, who interviewed Kef D extensively, explained why this confession isn't just rumor anymore. He revealed that he's known about Orlando Anderson killing Tupac since around 2007. This was essentially the worst-kept secret in LA. Well, the goal wasn't really to get anyone arrested. It was really just to get the truth of the matter. The story about Orlando Anderson killing Tupac I've known since the question everyone asked, why would Keefe D incriminate himself on camera? Vlad speculated that Kef D believed he had a level of immunity from the proper agreement. He also thought he had cancer at the time, so maybe he didn't think he had much time to live. But there's a legal complexity that haunted this case for over a decade. The confession was secured by way of a proffer agreement. This made it an unprosecutable case for years. Kef D could say whatever he wanted in that 2009 interview and prosecutors couldn't touch him. That was the deal. But then Kef D started talking publicly. Bat's Death Row Chronicles, his memoir, Compton Street Legend, Vlad TV interview seen by millions. Every time he repeated those details outside that protected room, he stripped away his own shield. So Orlando shot across Dre. He leaned over on the window. We rolled down the window. Popped him. Who they? They would drove on my side. I was popped. You know what I'm saying? But they was on the other side. Right now, Keith D sits in custody awaiting trial and from behind bars. His story has shifted dramatically. I ain't killed nobody. Never did ever kill nobody. They don't have no evidence against me. He came and put me in Las Vegas. 61-year-old Dwayne Keffy D. Davis says the night of the murder, September 7, 1996. His defense attorney strategy is almost paradoxical. Prove that Kef D is a liar. If he lied in interviews, in his book, in every public statement, maybe he lied in that proffer too. The bigger liar the jury believes him to be, the stronger his defense. But there's another piece to this puzzle. The retaliation that followed Tupac's death. According to Kading, Biggie's murder was the response. 6 months after Tupac was killed in Las Vegas, the retaliation came in Los Angeles. That's correct. The retaliation here in Los Angeles, 6 months after Tupac Shakur was killed, was a solicitation by Suge Knight to have a member of Bad Boy murdered, which would be Sean, two hip-hop legends, both gunned down. The East Coast versus West Coast beef claimed them both. And according to the documentary, one man allegedly sat at the center of it all. The documentary features Kirk Burroughs, Bad Boy's co-founder, who kept detailed journals throughout his time at the label. 30 boxes of handwritten notes, every expense, every meeting, every strange request, including car rentals from New York to Las Vegas right before the Tyson fight where Tupac was killed. Euros filed a lawsuit against Diddy containing similar allegations. He claimed Diddy felt intense jealousy toward Tupac, that the friendship developing between Tupac and Biggie threatened him, that his alleged jealousy created a dangerous environment that ultimately cost both rappers their lives. And prosecutors say Davis incriminated himself in his 2019 memoir Compton Street Legend. And in this on-camera interview, he said the shots came from the back. Who shot too? What makes this moment different from everything before? This isn't a rumor anymore. This isn't street gossip or conspiracy theories. This is recorded testimony given to federal authorities. Black and white evidence of an alleged conspiracy that reaches back almost 30 years. Diddy has consistently denied any involvement. His team called it pure fiction. Las Vegas police confirmed he was never considered a suspect. But the allegations keep mounting. The witnesses keep talking. The documentary keeps gaining viewers. 50 Cent spent 2 years building this for a reason. He wanted the world to finally understand what investigators have known for years. Now, the recorded proof sits in federal hands. Kef D's own words to authorities in 2009 describing an alleged $1 million bounty from Diddy. A hit that was supposed to take out both Suge Knight and Tupac. And when only one target fell, an alleged $500,000 payment to the man who stole that death row chain. 4 decades, this case was buried under legal loopholes and street silence. But Kef D broke his own protection. He talked on BET. He wrote a memoir. He sat with Vlad TV and told millions what he told investigators behind closed doors. But the evidence doesn't stop with confessions. Some of it may have been hiding in Diddy's own music. 1999, 3 years after Tupac's murder, Black Rob drops a track called Muscle Game featuring Mark Curry and Mario Winans. And buried in that song is a verse from Diddy himself. Nobody caught it at the time. It was hidden in plain sight for 25 long years. Listen to what he's saying in his own words. The verse talks about making people disappear, erasing records off the radio, taking birth certificates out of files, going after entire families. The threats escalate with every bar. But here's the million-dollar line. Literally, the lyrics reference dropping $1 million on someone's head to erase them. $1 million. The exact same amount. On Keefe D mentioned in police interviews about the hit on Tupac. According to court documents, Davis claimed Diddy offered $1 million to handle the problem with Suge Knight and Tupac. They only got Tupac that night in Vegas. So allegedly, they got paid half. And here's Diddy 3 years later putting that exact figure in a song. This wasn't metaphorical. This wasn't just rap bravado. Fans who've revisited these lyrics since the Netflix documentary dropped are connecting dots that were there all along. Sean Combs got to be the dumbest mother walking the planet, Bill. Why would he be recording all of that? How do 50 get that footage? Watch the grades, but I heard the first 10 minutes and it's like footage from even Charlemagne thought God couldn't believe it. Why would anyone document their own illegal behavior? The answer kept coming back to one word: arrogance. Pure, unfiltered narcissism. Some people can't help but tell on themselves. They need the world to know what they did. They need that recognition, even if it means burying the confession in plain sight. Patrick Bet David has been following this case for years, and his analysis cuts deep. The ego demanding recognition, the narcissism requiring acknowledgement, using music as a confessional booth while believing he'd never have to answer for any of it. And Diddy wasn't just hinting at violence in one song. His verse on 50 Cent's 2007 I Get Money remix also raised eyebrows. The lyrics referenced shootouts, coastal beefs, and lawyers good enough to get a quit. 50 Cent addressed those lyrics recently on The Breakfast Club. When asked if he wrote that verse, his response shifted the blame. He said Jay-Z wrote the part about shootouts and coastal beefs. I wasn't around for that. That was like East Coast, West Coast, he said, laughing. Then he mentioned Kef D and trailed off. Everyone knew what he meant. On GDP's 2001 track, Let's Get It, Diddy raps about running the city, telling the cops and feds to come get him. The pattern was consistent. The bragging never stopped. Fans online have been relentless. One wrote that Diddy doesn't even hide anything. Another said he was self-incriminating before it was cool. Even Eminem joined the conversation. His 2024 track Fuel contains what fans call one of the most clever bars in recent memory. He spells out rapper but leaves out AP. Then references both Biggie and Tupac, suggesting they should still be alive, and finishes with a reference to Keefe D. The wordplay was surgical. Fans have been saying M tried to tell people for years. But Patrick Bet David's connection to this story goes beyond analysis. It's personal. 2 years ago, before Diddy's arrest, Patrick was at an NBA game and across the arena sat Diddy with one of his girlfriends. The two locked eyes. Neither looked away. 2 full minutes of silent confrontation. For Patrick, it wasn't about business. It was about Tupac. Growing up, Tupac was one of the most influential figures in his life. The poetry, the passion, the raw truth in every verse. Taking him out was unforgivable. And every investigation, every documentary, every interview kept coming back to the same name. And this is a pacification gesture, and it's meant to kind of burn off excess adrenaline from a high-stress question or a high-stress scenario. And we see a lot more hand-to-head, hand-to-head, hand-to-head. And one, so all of those will factor up to a potentially very deceptive statement. What? Body language experts have analyzed Diddy's reactions when asked about Tupac over the years. The face touching, the rapid head movements, the verbal deflection when asked directly about the documentary alleging his involvement. It looks extremely avoidant. It looks like there is information there that it's what's called guilty knowledge. A person may be involved with a crime, may have committed a crime, may have witnessed a crime, but they have some kind of knowledge about the entertainment industry stayed silent for decades. The connections ran too deep. The fear was too real. Nobody talked because everybody was connected to Diddy somehow. And crossing him meant consequences nobody wanted to face. If this had come out in the 90s, everything would have been different. But back then, Diddy had the power, the connections, the lawyers, the money to make problems disappear. 50 Cent shares that same motivation. That's why he executive produced Sean Combs' The Reckoning. That's why he chose to do interviews about the documentary on ABC specifically. 50 Cent knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted everyone connected to Diddy to see it. That's not random. That's a message to everyone Diddy ever worked with. Everyone who knows things, everyone currently behind bars who might have stories to tell. Tupac Shakur died at 25, shot 4 times in a drive-by on the Las Vegas Strip. Suge Knight sat in that passenger seat, took shrapnel to the head, and watched his friend bleed out, and somewhere in a 1999 song hidden between verses nobody paid attention to, Diddy allegedly told everyone exactly what happened. Now, the evidence is compiled. The lyrics are being re-examined. The body language is being studied. And a culture that once protected its biggest names is finally asking the questions it should have asked decades ago. The 1999 track with Black Rob. All those lyrics sitting there for decades, playing on repeat, and now people are finally listening. 25 years of clues hidden in plain sight. And the man who allegedly orchestrated a $1 million hit couldn't resist dropping hints in his own music. Some people can't help themselves. They have to tell somebody. And did he? He told everybody. On record for 25 years. The lyrics were only the beginning. What came next would hit closer to home for Biggie and everyone in Diddy's orbit. Kirk Burroughs owned 25% of Bad Boy Records. That's how the company started. But here's what most people don't know. Did he put the other 75% under his mother's name? And according to Burroughs, that wasn't about family loyalty. It was strategy. The City College stampede had killed 9 people. A celebrity basketball game Diddy promoted turned into a deadly crush. Thousands showed up to a gym that could only hold half of them. Jason Swain was 17, hanging with his big brother Dirk, who was home from Hampton University. But he didn't join the group going to the student government-sponsored celebrity basketball game hosted by Heavy D and little-known music producer Sean Diddy Combs. There were supposedly 5,000 in the gym. No criminal charges were ever filed, but civil lawsuits were coming, and Burroughs claims Diddy structured the company specifically to shield himself from paying those families. Time the up-and-coming Combs was cut from his label, but no one was ever charged with a crime. Civil lawsuits filed by the families against him and 9 other defendants all reached out of court settlements. Swain has since turned his sorrow into a mission. That's Jason Swain. His brother Dirk was one of the 9 people who died. 33 years later, he's still waiting for someone to take responsibility. Then came 1996 and everything changed between them. According to Burroughs' lawsuit, Diddy walked into his office with a baseball bat. The demand was simple. Sign over your 25% or face the consequences. Burroughs says he signed no compensation, no negotiation, just survival. Did he allegedly promise to give it back eventually? But that never happened. In 2003, Burroughs sued. The court dismissed it. He said it was beyond the statute of limitations. Some even suggested he had mental issues. For 25 years after that, he claims he was blacklisted from the entire industry. Then there was a situation that somebody said long time ago in the office they caught Kirk giving. The parallel to other victims is striking. I think they were boyfriends. I think my honest opinion, I think Kirk was in love with Puff to a certain degree and Puff was using him and Kirk was giving up the Bina to him. But the business betrayals were just one piece. The real story involves 2 of hip-hop's greatest artists and how their friendship became a threat. Tupac and Biggie started as brothers. They had real respect between them. Tupac let Biggie open for him at his shows and they even did interviews together. Their bond was genuine. But according to those who were there, Diddy hated it. Here was his artist building a relationship outside of Bad Boy. A relationship Diddy couldn't control with a rival he allegedly saw as a threat. Then came March 1997. Biggie was supposed to fly to the UK after his LA appearances. The flight was booked. Everything was set. And then Diddy made a call. He cancelled the flight. He's going to New York instead. Keep him in LA longer. This is what Burroughs alleged in the Netflix documentary. Biggie didn't want to be there. LA was enemy territory after Tupac's murder 6 months earlier. But Diddy wanted to throw a party on the West Coast despite everything. What's chilling is what Biggie said before that night. He allegedly told people he felt something was about to happen, that someone was going to take him out. Multiple people allegedly heard him say this. March 9, 1997, Biggie was killed in a drive-by shooting, leaving that party in Los Angeles. And then something remarkable happened. The man who allegedly ignored every warning became the grieving best friend, the devastated partner, the voice of a generation in mourning. The tribute song with Sting became one of the biggest records of the year. Bad Boy threw what people called the biggest funeral New York had ever seen. But according to Burroughs, there was a catch. Diddy made it a recoupable charge against Biggie's estate. The spectacular send-off that made Diddy look like a loyal friend. Biggie allegedly paid for it from beyond the grave. In the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September. You want to put the stuff in my fanny pack? And then came Diddy's solo career. Before Biggie's death, people in the industry questioned whether Diddy had real musical talent. He was a businessman, the manager, the guy who knew how to manipulate situations. But tragedy made him a star. His first solo album rode the wave of mourning. Suddenly, he wasn't just the executive behind the scenes. He was the face of hip-hop grief. The man who lost his best friend. Look at the pattern. City College stampede kills 9 people. Diddy becomes famous. Tupac gets murdered. Competition eliminated. Biggie gets killed. Diddy launches his solo career. Every tragedy elevated him higher. And it goes deeper than just the artists. Andre Harrell founded Uptown Records. He's the one who gave young Diddy his start, took him in as an assistant, mentored him in everything. Uptown Records was the house that Andre Harrell built. Andre was the man who gave Diddy his shot by hiring him and allowing him to intern in the A&R department school. And I was interning. I was in the A&R department. That stands for Artist and Repertoire. Diddy's ambition was always clear. He wanted to be the next Russell Simmons, the next Berry Gordy. But that ambition came with a cost. According to sources, Diddy's temper became legendary at Uptown. Some say that's actually where he got the name Puffy. I had heard he got the name Puffy because he would get so angry when he wouldn't get his way when it comes to certain musical decisions or whatever that he would just get all puffed up. Yeah. They started just calling him Puffy as a joke. Puff Daddy. Yeah. And it stuck. Yeah. Would you see these kind of back and forths between Puffy and Andre? Andre eventually fired him, not out of malice, but because Diddy had grown beyond mentorship. He would only listen to Andre, and Andre didn't have time to manage someone's ego. When Diddy left Uptown, Andre let him take one artist, Biggie Smalls. That decision would change hip-hop forever. D is dead. Draco Morell is dead. The only 2 left, Puffy and Al, and Almost. Uptown Records started with 5 people. Andre Harrell, Al Shore, Heavy Diddy, and Kim Porter. 3 of them are dead now. Kim, Heavy DeAndre, I'll be sure recently survived a near-fatal coma. That leaves one person standing healthy and successful from that original group. What's the common thread? According to sources in the documentary, all 3 who died were reportedly working on tell-all books before they passed. Books that presumably would have exposed what they knew about Diddy's operations. So, what happened in court? The documentary includes interviews with actual jurors from Diddy's trial, and their responses are stunning. Some of them sided with him. Believed the accusers were just trying to take money from a rich man. Thought it was a conspiracy against him. The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy. Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. In the end, Diddy was convicted on 2 counts of transportation for Under the Mann Act, but acquitted of the most serious charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. The sentence: 50 months with time served. Do the math. He'll be free by the next election cycle. After everything. After the City College deaths, after Tupac, after Biggie, after decades of allegations, I feel like I need to wash like I'm dirt that was show you his character. Is that the reason for including it? Yeah, I mean, it is. What's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape. 50 Cent called him the biggest dirtbag in the industry. Every investigation into Tupac's death kept leading back to the same place, the same person. What drove Diddy? According to those who knew him, 3 things: envy, control, and the spotlight. Nobody else could shine. Not Tupac, not Biggie, not Kirk Burroughs with his 25%. Not Andre Harrell, who gave him his start. Not Heavy D, who introduced him to the industry. Diddy had to be the face, the star, the name everyone remembered. Kirk Burroughs spent 25 years blacklisted and homeless. He kept detailed journals the entire time he worked at Bad Boy. Those journals became evidence. His story finally got told. 9 families from City College are still waiting for closure. Tupac's case finally moved forward after nearly 30 years. Biggie's murder still unsolved. And the man at the center of it all, he'll walk free before the next election. The pattern is documented. The bodies are counted. The truth is finally emerging. 50 months. That's what decades of alleged manipulation, betrayal, and bodies left behind amounts to in the eyes of the law. And the story isn't over. But for the first time, it's finally being told.